Hello, everyone.
Hi everybody. Fiber
Nice to have
Spider and Matt the Rock and Crochet are here.
How
Hi.
y'all? How's everybody doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Yay. And I hope all of you out there in YouTube land are doing good. Yes, we're doing another collaboration video today where we're going to be doing some coloring on let me get the other side up here, uh, of our underwater musical adventure, our collaboration. And I am so impressed with what Matt is doing. I'm gonna try to make some more headway because I feel like I am. It's not quite the tortoise and the hare, but the going on over here. But
Well,
yeah,
everybody does stuff at their own pace.
indeedy do. So, if you want to grab your colored pencils or your crayons or your watercolors, join us. We're going to have a nice chill collaboration of coloring today, and join in the fun, whether you're working with this particular coloring page or not. Hey, doesn't matter, join in on the coloring and we'll have a little chit chat and, talk about stuff and things, mostly things. And yeah.
You guys know how we roll.
Yeah, yeah. So, me personally, what I want to do is I want to start incorporating because I got a lot of warm tones. I want some cool tones. So, I'm going in with a light blue and I want to start getting in some of these waves. And I also have brilliant green because it's going to be very oceanic and aquatic and so on and so forth. So I want to start laying out some more areas here, spread my little wings. How about you, Matt?
Me, I don't have a plan. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. I mean, we've talked about this. I see the colors in my head, and I really have to say, "Oh, I'm gonna make this." I do it. I have a vision in my head and I want to put that on paper. So I work a little differently. So I look at my pencils, which today I have my Posca pencils,
Mm-hmm.
which are some of my favorites. Which there they are. There's 4 trays of them. That shows just the 2, and then there's 2 more. I just look at the color and it just pops in my head where it wants to go. So I kind of let the color tell me what it wants to do.
So how long have you been dropping acid?
Thank you.
I joke. I'm sorry.
No, we all have our ways, Slowpoke.
Well, I'm working on it. I was working on another image on my last coloring video that I have entitled Rambling Rabbits. And I've been working on, instead of going in with a lot of detail with like just one specific item, I'm trying to do more of like a laying out of color in bigger swaths, so to speak. And it means it's, to a degree, it's more diluted. But because I'm not going so much for detail, but more laying out big blocks of color in certain areas. And that's kind of actually what I'm going to try to do today.
The one that I actually was thinking about doing almost the same thing with was this one.
Yeah. I mean, just the horse itself.
Through here.
Mm-hmm.
not so
You
much the
know,
horse, but the flowers and the foliage.
mhm.
I'd like to do something like that. Like not so much detail, but more of a like a splash of color
Yeah, no,
or
I
like a
totally
run of color.
understand. No, I get it. Yeah, I'm trying to work on predominantly the waves right now. Um, there's waves. There are also leaves that look sort of like sea kelp, that kind of thing. Um, and so I'm going to try to work a bunch on those because they are hither, thither, and yon. And I think it'll help me to branch out more as opposed to focusing on one specific small spot and getting sort of uh, tunnel vision, like just working on just like one little thing. I'm trying to branch out more. That's the going plan. Oh, and the pencils that I'm using, I forgot to say, these are the Masters Touch Fine Art Studio colored
How do you like
pencils.
those?
I like them a lot. Thank you. Yes, I do. Well, I thought it was only fitting that I use these because you were so nice and generous as to give them to me. Um, so yeah, I'm still working with these, and Whoosy Whatskis. Um, so yeah, I'm really trying to go with broader color layout at the moment. So we'll see how far I can get with that. Um, we shall see.
So and I know we were talking about stuff we were working on. So what else are you working on, like outside of the coloring thing?
Well, been feverishly working on my English paper piecing, of course. Um, and I've made some decent progress, but I mean, I would say that I'm probably not even quite halfway through. But considering that I started that particular project for the English paper piecing quilt, I want to say back in May. Um, all things considered, I am not displeased with the amount of progress that I've made, considering that it's all done completely by hand. Thus far, I'm content. Um, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Um, uh, uh, but aside from that, I'm working on another quilting project, which is honestly, it's taking me longer than I had anticipated. I was going to do a tutorial on that for this upcoming weekend. However, because I don't want to rush myself too terribly much, because when you rush yourself, that's when you make boo-boos. That's when you make mistakes. And for me, stitching is not about creating stress for myself. It's trying to
Relief?
alleviate, it's trying to alleviate the stress. So I'm trying to give myself more of a window schedule wise. So actually that quilting project I'm thinking might end up being next weekend. Um, and Whoosy Whatskis. So this weekend it might be uh, a crochet stitch tutorial, I'm thinking. And then next weekend maybe do the quilt project. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I
Yeah, because
from what you
yes,
showed me, the quilt is coming out really good.
thank you. Yeah, I was honestly not sure if it was going to work out based on the color palette that I was working with. But yeah, it's one of those where the more you do, the better it looks, in my opinion. And I was showing Buddy, our good friend Buddy, and I was showing him the other day, and he was gushing, and Russ was gushing. So I guess I'm going in a good direction with it. So I'm happy with it. Um, you know, it's
Russ
time
was,
consuming.
Russ was
Sorry.
gushing. Russ doesn't gush that much.
Yes, he does. You remember those like ridiculous commercials for that? It was like a fruit snack candy called Gushers.
I remember that. I was
Yeah.
looking at for some reason on one of the like on one of the feeds. It actually it's been having that like
What, those commercials?
this is a candy from the 80s that is no longer available. The 7 top candies, and it
Oh
goes
yeah,
through
I've gotten those.
and it shows like
Yeah, I've gotten those as well as my in my feed, like, top 10 1970s hors d'oeuvres that nobody makes now, kind of thing, or
yeah.
products from your childhood that they don't produce anymore. It's like, yes, thank you for reminding me of the pain of nostalgia that, even if I want it, I can't have it. Thank you for that.
And it went through like the lawn darts, and
Oh
they had
yeah.
like the chemistry sets, and
Mhm.
I'm like,
Well, yeah, because the
man,
chemistry sets had like radium in them. Like, yes, they wanted to make America's children glow in the dark.
yeah, there was some crazy. Yeah, that was like in the 40s and 50s.
Hmm. Also, those chemistry sets, those were expensive. Those were not cheap at all. I don't know who they thought that they were marketing it to, but um, yeah, and lawn darts. Oh my God! I mean, who ever thought that that was a bright idea? Damned if I know.
I know we had them.
Oh yeah,
Like
look how great you turned out.
exactly. We had lawn darts. We had there was a bunch of stuff like that. That was just
Mhm.
like it was crazy because now everybody would like freak out.
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, yeah, safety standards have changed considerably. Well, and that's good. Um, but I mean, some toys within the more recent decades, like the Cabbage Patch doll that would eat and would not stop eating. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I've heard. I know they got lawsuits for that because it like hurt like quite a few kids. Like they'd stick their fingers in there.
Or the hair. And the thing is, there was no reverse or off switch. It was all automatic. So it's like once something went in, it just kept going in.
In
And yeah, oh, terrible. Um, yeah, actually, I mean, I never had a Cabbage Patch when I was growing up. I remember when they were the rage. Um, but yeah, I never got one of those when I was a kid. Me, I did have not like the full-sized big Care Bear. I had a small Care Bear though. That was the closest that I got to one of those rage items.
I had a Biff bear,
Oh, what?
a Biff bear.
A Biff Bear.
Yeah, and like you pulled the string, and it's like little mouth like moved,
Yep.
so it's
Okay.
supposed to look like he was talking, which was kind of cool.
Remember Teddy Ruxpin?
Yes.
Yes, that was another one. Um, I remember he was quite popular. But I mean, the thing is, it was all audio tape, so technically you could put any form of audio tape in there. So you could like listen to Guns N' Roses on your Teddy Ruxpin if you wanted to.
And then there was the crazy Tickle Me Elmos.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Those scared
fortunately.
those scared the crud out of a lot of kids with that.
Well, because it was like he was having like an epileptic seizure or something, you know? You know, laughing maniacally, shaking and twitching. It was just, it was, I don't know, freak any child out. Yeah, it's true. You know? Well, I mean, it was weird though, because the psychology behind those toys, because, all right, so Cabbage Patch was about adopting children, you know, that were like left in the Cabbage Patch or something along those lines. And
Yeah,
then there was another offshoot to that, which were hound puppies,
yeah.
which
I
was
remember from the
also,
pound puppy
yeah,
thing.
I had one. I named him Spot. I know, really original, right? Um, and So yeah, I had one. Its name was Spot. But yeah, that too. It was all about adopting the unwanted, you know, if you will. And I don't know. There's something kind of odd and unsettling. It's like, you know, put the onus of adopting the unwanted on a small child.
Yeah, I had G.I. Joe. I
No,
didn't
that
have any of because I'm older than you are, so
well,
it,
yes,
it
but
was
G.I. Joe
different.
has been around for even way before you were a kid,
Yeah.
you know, but like I mean, I had some action figures, but mine were Star Wars.
Oh no, I had like they're like 8, 9, 10 inches tall.
Well,
Like
I have the little dudes. Well,
the big um GI Joes.
you're referring to like the ones that were like Ken and Barbie size.
Yes. Those were the ones I had.
Well, mine were more like yay big,
Like
thereabouts, more like
yeah,
5
like
inches or so.
the little okay, what is
What are you Googling it?
no,
What?
my hang on.
Oh, we appear to be having technical difficulties. That's okay. Hello?
Although
Hello?
I'm here. Sorry
Well,
guys.
I
I'm
see you're
having
crocheting.
oh no, that's just the background.
Well, no, I mean, I see some yarn and a granny square.
Oh no, that's just the background. See?
Uh-huh.
That's just the background.
Okay. Because I don't see you at all.
There I am.
Hi again. What happened?
I don't know. My the camera that was facing down is there. It is.
Okay. No,
There we go. Back in
that's all right.
action.
That's all
It
right.
it it had locked up for a second.
Huh. The wonders of
So
modern
it showed the
technology.
picture, but it didn't show my hands
Huh.
doing anything.
Yeah, apparently there was some issues, not with your side, but with my side in the last collab that we did. And I'd gotten a couple of comments saying that the image quality wasn't that good and that it looked kind of fuzzy and whatnot. And you know what? I look at it this way. It is what it is, and we're doing the best we can. You know, we're not IT specialists. You know, we're trying here, you know.
Hey, and that's true.
I'm not even a coloring specialist. I just enjoy doing it. And for those of you out there, who enjoy these videos, let us know what you think. Do you have like, because, I have my own approach to doing the coloring, and Matt has his approach to his coloring. What's your approach? Let us know. Like, do you like to try to map out large swatches of color first, or start in a small specific spot, or,
Or
what
just
is,
go for it.
yeah, what is your general approach? Do you try to go for more of like a realism, or more whimsical with your color scheme? Like more abstract, more surreal, or you know, what have you? Like what is your personal style when it comes to that? Me, I'm sort of 50-50. I'm a little here, I'm a little there.
I know one of um the colorings that I did.
Hmm.
It wa- I I did it and I looked back at it later and it was like of a space port kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And it reminded me of like the colors and like it used to be there used to be a magazine called Heavy Metal
Yes.
and it looked like those kind of like colors. Like
Oh, okay.
it was I was like, "Oh, hello."
Yeah, heavy metal, it was sort of like a dark fantasy kind of magazine,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. Well, I mean, also heavy metal was a movie, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was
The
sort
movie
of,
was the movie was cool. We used to go to the midnight movie and watch that. That always played. That was like one of the ones that was always playing at the midnight movie.
sort of dark fantasy. Did they use do you know if they used a rotoscope with that particular picture?
That I'm not sure.
Do you know what the technique is?
I do not. if
Okay, well, all right, because
it
at first
was
I'm like,
like if it's like wizards, it kind of
yes.
was, but kind of not.
See, like rotoscoping, is a technique that they've used for quite a while. It's not used so much now because it involves taking filmed footage, and then taking that footage and then drawing animated cells over that footage so that it mimics the look of realistic action footage, but with an artist's touch to it. So basically picture like if somebody took what we're filming right now, right? And then
And
drew.
turned us into a cartoon.
Right, exactly. Um, and so it's sort of like a almost like a filter, if you will, but it's all drawn and painted by hand. Um, and yeah, they did it in one of the Lord of the Rings versions. I think it was Ralph Bakshi did that.
I was gonna say I remember a Lord of the Rings one that was like it was like a cartoon.
Yeah, yeah, it was from the somewhere in the 1970s, I want to say.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and Wizards, and I think Fritz the Cat was
Yes.
another one, and they would use that technique occasionally for effect, and it was very effective. Um, yeah, it was called
There was another
rotoscoping.
one, American. It was like it
Graffiti.
was
No,
yeah.
not graffiti,
Oh,
pop, American pop.
yes.
Yes, yes, very, very true. That was a good movie. If you like music, that was a really good one. And then more recently, there was a movie called A Scanner Darkly, and that had, I want to say, Robert Downey Jr. in it, and I think Woody Harrelson and a couple of others. And that one, the whole thing, oh, and Keanu Reeves, that one was done using rotoscope as well. So you could tell that it was those various actors, but it was animated over them to give it a very surreal look. See, around here, you learn something new whether you like it or not.
I have, because I know those movies, but I didn't know that that was
Mhm.
what was used.
Yeah. And no, I always found that to be rather interesting, the way that they could take something realistic and make it surrealistic just by animating over it. Um, See, even though right now I'm not doing any sort of blending or layering of other colors, I do like the fact that I'm expanding quite a bit with the blue. See, I'm getting a lot more coverage going on here. I'm giving you a run for your money, dude. Check it out.
Right on. That looks good.
I'm trying to get some more coverage going on here, so that I can go in later with more detail. That's the general idea, concept, plan, blueprint. Well, blueprint. Um,
Blueprint?
that's the idea. So, what sort of projects are you working on, good sir?
Um, for a couple of days, I've been um, Rebecca's jewelry sorter and fixer. So since I've got like the little tools and stuff from doing models and that kind of thing,
Uh-huh.
um, she's been really into like costume jewelry.
Hmm.
And so if like a piece is like got to open like clasp or like, I'll fix them for her. So I've been doing that. And then I've been working on that shawl that I showed you.
Hmm.
And that's really about it. Uh,
Is that something that you would like to show the class, or is it top secret for now?
oh no, I showed the beginnings of it on my other one,
Okay.
on our live. So this is where I've gotten so far.
Oh, I love those colors.
Because I only actually had on our live, I only
Mhm.
actually had that done.
Well, I do
Was
love where it's going.
just the top piece.
Very
So
pretty.
I've been I've been plugging away at it.
Yeah, actually, oh, I had some really good luck at Michael's just yesterday, actually. I was questioning whether or not I should pinch myself because something happens that generally does not ever happen. Um, I actually found multiple skeins of the same dye lot.
No way.
Yeah, I know, right? Crazy. Um, yeah, I was picking through their. I mean, to my knowledge, there isn't any sort of sale or anything going on right now, but I do have a particular project in mind, and I'm like, I know I'm going to need a whole mess of Pound of Love, and that's the only place brick and mortar locally that I can find it. So I'm like, you know what? Let's see what they got. So yeah, I was perusing their Pound of Love, and I found 4 skeins of the Oxford Grey, and I found 3 skeins of the Olive and 3 skeins of the Elephant Grey. and they all had the same dye lots.
That's a good thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. For those of you that are not familiar with dye lots, they are they
If
are
you're
tricky beasts.
if you're watching this and you're a new crocheter, well, even if you're an old crocheter or knitter, always that's why like you hear like Russ and Craig and myself and Rebecca and we'll buy if we're doing if we want like a certain like color yarn, we'll buy a whole bunch to do that project so that it
Mhm.
all comes so it's all the same shade
Yep.
and it's
Because
and
I'm
it's
sorry, go ahead.
important.
Yeah, because like if you could buy like 7 skeins of the same quote unquote color, but they have dye lots. It's this little itty bitty number next to the name of the color of the yarn, and it says lot number blah blah blah. And you could take, 7 different skeins that have quote unquote the same color, but if they have a different dye lot, there is a very subtle yet noticeable difference in the shade. Um, Usually it's more noticeable in certain lighting than in others.
and,
And
and sometimes it's completely off.
oh,
Like
yeah,
sometimes you'll get one and it's like, okay, it's this color, but what the heck did they do? Like,
exactly.
and it's just the dyes that they use.
Yeah. So the thing is that like say you're working on your blanket and you have to change skeins and it's a different dye lot. Oh, you'll see the difference. Perhaps not in one lighting versus another, but oh, you really will see the difference. There'll be like a direct line cutting across your project where you changed your skeins, and it's a different dye lot, and it can be extremely jarring. So, yes, as Matt was saying, if you know that you're going to be doing a really large project, or if you're uncertain as to how much yardage you're actually going to need for a project, buy more than you think you would possibly need. And then if you have leftover, hold on to your receipt, return it. If you really don't want to have that leftover yarn, okay, return it. Um, but it's always better to have too much than not enough because if you don't have the same dye lot on hand, trying to find that yarn out in the wild with the same dye lot, it is next to impossible. So I speaketh from experience, and that's why some yarns
Yeah, I've done that too.
are really convenient, like Red Heart Super Saver. There are no dye lots with that yarn, with some exceptions though. It is not an end all be all statement when they say no dye lot because the Red Heart Super Saver yarns that do have dye lots are the ombres, the variegateds, and I think it is one of their gray colorways. Those do have dye lots, so you need to be mindful of that. But otherwise, you know, uh, it will say on the label band, if it is a no dye lot yarn, and if that's the case, those are great if you are uncertain as to how much yarn you'll need, and then you're like, oh, I can always get more. And in that particular case, yes, that is true. Otherwise, buy a lot.
Well, and even even with my beloved Malabrigo, like with the hand dyed, some of the hand dyed yarns that are very that have like a lot of movement and stuff to them.
Mhm.
I mean, try and get the bulk of it right out, like when you buy the yarn for the project, or if you don't, before you use up all of the hanks of yarn that you have, like let's say you've got you've got like 3 hanks and you're going to need 5. See, like when you finish the first 2, go and buy the other 2 hanks, and then if they're a different dye lot, because of the variance in the yarn, you could mix them in.
Hmm.
You could mix them in and make it look like it was purposeful
Yeah,
instead of, oh, here's a big, just a chunk of a different colored yarn.
yeah. Actually, that technique does have a name, which I didn't know until fairly recently. It's called marling,
Wow,
and yeah,
I did not know that, so now I know.
yeah. See, if I know something, I try to share it because knowledge is power, but sharing is caring. Yeah, marling. Actually, I've only really heard the term before in knitting circles, not so much in the crochet world, but yeah, it's a way of sort of blending your yarn colors so that uh, if you need to transition from one to another, so say you're working with color A for a while and you want to eventually transition to B. So what you would do is you would do a bunch with just A, and then you would do a bunch of rows alternating back and forth between A and B, and then switch eventually to just B, so to speak, if that makes any sense. Yeah, it's a form of it's sort of like when you're doing coloring, with pencils or pens or whatnot, and you're sort of trying to do like an ombre, but this is with yarn, uh, doing like X number of rows with one, and then alternating rows with both, and then just doing the other. Does that make sense?
Did to me.
Okay, good enough. um, but yeah, you can create some really cool colorways. But yeah, it's called marling, and it's used.
I mean, I had heard it um referred, like, I didn't know the name,
Uh,
but I heard the technique referred to when I was knitting. Like I heard um we were at one of our local yarn shops,
uh,
and the lady's like, okay, these 3 are one, and this other one is from a different dye lot.
mhm.
So what you're gonna have to do is, and then she told me about it, about like, do one row of this color, do another row of that color, to
Exactly.
like to like weave it, kind of weave it into the, so you can't really tell that it's a different dye lot.
Yeah, it makes the difference a lot less jarring and a lot more subtle. Um, Sort of like blending your foundation, if you're doing makeup or that sort of thing. I can't speak from experience, but um, it's like it's sort of like using a blending tool or a smudge stick or a smudger when doing charcoal. It's sort of like blending things so that there isn't a distinct line, so that there's a difference between A and B. It's less jarring and more pleasing to the eye.
Yeah.
There are some patterns where, I mean, it really doesn't matter if you have the same dye lot, especially if it's very busy. If it's a very, very busy pattern, it really doesn't matter quite so much. But say, for instance, you were doing a blanket where it's very uniform, like all double crochets, and it had a very uniform look to it. You would notice the difference between the dye lots very distinctly. But if it's an extremely busy pattern, or if it's a very busy colorway, it doesn't matter as much, because there's a lot more to distract your eye. And also, of course, you know, uh, personal preference and that sort of thing does play a role naturally. Because sometimes, I mean, it's a project that you want to be an heirloom or a showpiece. Other times, it's like, no, you're making donation items like, blankets for animals in a shelter. They're not going to know, nor are they going to care. They just want to be warm, you know. So sometimes it's more important than others. You know, Sometimes it's more about functionality versus aesthetics. Um, we all want to do our best, and we all want to, produce quality items, but sometimes the devil in the details is not worth dancing with.
Well, it's kind of funny how kind of because I'm in construction, and I was well tile and marble and like that kind of stuff,
Uh-huh.
and it actually comes up in tile and marble tiles all the time because you'll get like natural stone, you'll get
Right.
ones that are a different shade and ones that are like a lot lighter. And when they set them on a floor, what they do is they mix them as they go.
There you
So
go.
it's kind of the same. It's that same
Um,
kind of concept, but
that makes perfect
just in a
sense.
different thing.
That makes absolutely perfect sense because you can't control uh, necessarily the product that you get. I mean, it's coming out of the earth. It's
Exactly.
you can't dictate what Mother Nature does or not, but you can manipulate what you have in order for there to be like more of an even displacement of those differences. So yeah, that's another form of marling, if you will.
And the the tile setters that are really good at it, their floors, like that kind of floor, comes
Yeah.
out beautiful because the tone is spread out through the whole floor.
Well, I learned something too today. Oh, that's really cool. Because yeah, if you're working with something that is completely organic, yeah, I mean, you have to roll with those punches just as much. Very interesting. Or as they would say on the Laughing, very interesting.
Interesting.
It's very interesting.
I remember that show.
I've only seen snippets of it. I never watched it when it was in its heyday, but I've seen like,
I I'm old
flashback
enough.
moments.
I'm old enough that I did watch it when it's heyday.
Was that also the show where the other catchphrase was "suck it to me"?
Yeah,
That was okay.
that's the one.
Yeah, so
Yeah, and
right now,
I remember sitting there eating TV dinners and watching Star Trek, like with the original, like Captain Kirk,
mhm.
Spock, and all of that. Yeah,
You know what, I tried getting into Star Trek. I did. I tried, but I gravitated more towards Lost in Space.
I used to watch that too.
Like I like more of the fantasy as opposed to the science. See, I like the fiction in science fiction more than the science, if that makes sense. Um, I could appreciate the aliens and the weird, unusual planets and that sort of thing. But when it came to more about the diplomacy and the warp drive, I mean, the only really cool thing that I liked, I think, in Star Trek was the holodeck. That I thought was cool. I
I
liked the holodeck.
Scotty was always my favorite.
I like Data,
Scotty was always the best.
but Data, that was the next generation. That was
Yep.
way further down the road. But also, I could never take Captain Kirk seriously because William Shatner is the biggest ham, and he had such an ego.
I
I
would
mean,
say I would say the guy from CSI Miami takes the cake for that one.
what ego? Which one was he?
He was the one that had always like right at the beginning of the show would like take off his glasses in a certain way, and he would like do it like very like
Did he have, did he
kind of
have a
thing.
beard? Did he have a beard?
No, no, he was a redhead.
A redhead.
Yeah,
Oh wait, I think I know who you're talking about, but I'm not entirely sure. Um, but I mean, uh, the guy that played Picard, he I liked.
I saw a commercial, and it was him and the guy that played Luke.
Mark Hamill?
It was him and Mark Hamill, and they were going back and forth, like about like you know about using the force and like this and that, like going back and forth.
Patrick Stewart, that's the name I was looking for. Patrick
Yes,
Stewart.
it
I
was. It
love
was,
him.
and Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill goes. There's one scene that they're talking, and he's like, "Ooh, sir," because um Picard, the one that played Picard, is got knighted.
Well, I mean, I think he was actually like Shakespeareanly trained in acting, if I'm not mistaken. Like he has very formal uh stage acting training. It wasn't just, doing TV sitcoms and so forth. Like he has a very distinctive presence. I mean, his diction is very commanding.
Yeah,
And you could say the same thing with a lot of other actors where the way that they enunciate and their diction is just ah it's like audible velvet, like um James Earl Jones.
I love listening to him.
I know, or Morgan Freeman,
That's
you know,
another one.
just beautiful, beautiful voices.
They had one. A friend of mine sent me a picture. That was Morgan Freeman, and the caption around on the picture was, "I bet you're reading this in my voice."
I mean, just the sort of the sweet, dulcet tones of their voices. It's absolutely to die for. Like I wish I sounded that good. I'm way too soprano for that by comparison.
Red.
What's up?
Oh, I was talking to myself.
Well, you get better answers that way.
My grandmother, my grandmother used to always tell me it's okay if you talk to yourself, but when you start answering,
Or arguing.
yeah, That's when you have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. When you start having an active argument, yeah. Then you start hearing that song from Dr. Demento. They're coming to take me away, ha ha. They're coming to take me away, ho ho, hee hee ha. To the funny farm, where the nice men with white coats, and etc. etc. I don't know. Ugh, I don't know the full lyric set, but yeah, as long as you're not arguing, you're in good company.
Or or lyrics from a song that I love. I'll see
Oh,
you on the dark side of the moon.
yeah. Pink Floyd is a oldie but a goodie. Never goes out of style. Okay. All right. I'm feeling pretty good about today. Got some nice coverage going on here. Yeah, because before it was just like, all right, I'm working on the seashell, and that, well, I mean, the seashell is the focal point for the whole image. Um, but I feel pretty good about this, all things considered.
So just curiosity,
Yeah.
what music do you listen to?
Oh, I am all over the place when it comes to music. Um, I mean, there is some more, I guess you would say, traditional picks that I listen to, like, Bjork, Radiohead, uh, the Eurythmics, Pat Benatar, more, 80s, 90s
Yeah,
kind of picks. But no, lately I've been branching out into other things. There's another group called Lorn, Lorn, that I rather enjoy. Massive Attack, Moon Vampire, Boy Harsher, uh, trying to think of what else off the top of my
I
noggin.
must be getting old.
Well, no, you are not getting old.
You must be
Music,
getting old because I didn't recognize any of those names.
well, here's the thing. You are not getting old. I would say it is that there are so many more musical bands, musicians, uh, singers, etc., that keep popping up, every day. Quite frankly, I mean, when even when I was younger, there were not nearly as many. Now, every Tom, Dick, and Harry has a music label, and if they don't, they create their own. They start producing their music themselves and putting it online and promote themselves that way. So the thing is that there is a much larger influx of newer artists. So I would definitely not say it's a case of you being old. I would say that the market has been rather flooded with tons and tons of artists, which can be good and can be not good depending upon your perspective. Um, because there are unfortunately a lot of AI generated musicians where it's not just the voice and the music, but also the image of that artist singing and playing instruments that's not even real, which is doing, in my opinion, a huge disservice to actual living artists. Um, and to me, it sort of cheapens the industry.
Well, I saw one, it was all AI.
Mm,
And once I found out it was AI, I was like, yeah, okay.
yeah. It's technology is a great thing, but when it homogenizes and waters down the gene pool of creativity, that's not helping anybody.
Because this was like, it was classical, but it was done. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then
Yeah,
I found out
no.
it was AI.
Ugh, such a bait and switch. Actually, there's another trend that has very unfortunately taken off, and that is AI generated short videos where you see somebody who has crocheted, a bag or a toy or whatever, and they're at a fair and they're trying to sell their wares, and people aren't buying them. And sometimes the people, uh, the potential customers are vicious, and they even attack the seller, and they're rude and they're getting attacked and so on and so forth. And the the vendor is looking for sympathy, and like, nobody will buy my products. I spend so much time and energy and working on these projects and nobody likes them. Please, please tell me that you love them, and please, buy them, support me. It's all AI, the
Yeah,
videos of these people.
I saw one
And
of those today.
yeah, yeah, it's unfortunately become extremely prevalent, and they are preying on people who can't tell the difference between AI and reality, which, to be fair, the technology has gotten better and better, unfortunately, to the point where people can't discern between what's real and what's fake, and people are then buying these products that are not, you know, being made by who they purport to be. And to me, that's criminal. It's absolutely awful that, people's ignorance is being exploited in such a way.
Well, even even with knitting and crocheting,
Yep.
the AI coming up with patterns, but
Yep.
they're not real
Exactly.
patterns.
It honestly, it makes me ill, and uh, it should be banned. It should be boycotted. There should be something done to stop it, because um, it's just very creatively destructive. And actually, somebody did write a comment on one of the reviews for my Etsy store, and they were saying that they appreciated the fact that my patterns are not AI. Um, and I didn't even really think about it until after they wrote it. I'm like, well, of course, but unfortunately, it's become so commonplace that in my own way, I guess I've become like a breath of fresh air, because it's like, no, I haven't fallen down that rabbit hole of self-destruction. It's like, yeah, I don't play those games. Thank you, no. I'm a straight shooter when it comes to that. Thank you very much. I've
I
got
mean,
much better things to do.
I can see where it could help you write a pattern. Like I could see using it as a tool,
Right. But not as a replacement.
but not as a replacement.
Yeah.
Like controlling the tool, but using it as a tool.
Right. Like, out of curiosity, I'm like, okay, typing in the prompt, create a lacy knit shawl pattern. And so I was experimenting to see, all right, how legit is, Gemini, at creating something from nothing. And so they have the kinds of stitches and so forth and the instructions, but it legitimately does not work. The patterns do not actually work. Like the stitch count is wrong, or uh, the way that the fabric ends up laying out, it's like warped, and it doesn't lay flat. No matter what you try to do to it, it's just I mean, it understands stitch formation, but not necessarily the progression of how an actual textile is formed.
How that comes together.
Yeah, exactly. So I am pretty happy with how this is coming along. I've got the leafy greens, and I got the blue waves. I have a more of an all over kind of bit of coverage going on here. You know, I'm happy with where I'm going.
No,
You
you do beautiful work.
well, thank you, and you are. It's just chef's kiss. Mwah. It's looking awesome. It really is. It looks like you've got a cornucopia of goodies there, and I really love how it's coming along.
Yeah, I just like I said, I just play with it, and whatever looks right to me, that's what I go with.
Well, it's you know what? It's working for you.
Well, if it was who was it? Picasso? Is it Picasso?
Mm-hmm.
That and a bottle of absinthe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Picasso. Was it Picasso?
So he did the abstracts.
No, it wasn't Picasso. It was the one that cut off his ear.
I thought that was Picasso.
Is that
That was
Picasso?
Picasso.
Well, there was one of them that was like,
Yeah, Picasso. I believe he was the one that cut off his ear, but also that he was the one that um, did a lot of very, very abstract works, if I'm not mistaken. I could be, but I'm pretty sure.
well, there was one of them that really liked the absinthe.
Oh, did he? Oh,
And
that's true.
I can't
It's,
remember which one.
well, I mean, I think Edgar Allan Poe also enjoyed various indulgences as well, if I'm not mistaken. I could be. I mean, also a lot of things of that
Pollock.
sort are they're
What?
very speculative.
Pollock.
Yeah, Pollock also. Jackson Pollock.
Oh, Jackson Pollock,
Mm-hmm.
who drank absinthe.
No, that did abstract.
Ah.
Well, Pollock, he was the one that did it's sort of like splatter painting.
Yeah, splatter painting. Mm-hmm. And he went by the seat of his pants. Yeah.
Yeah, it
But
was
I mean, a
just
lot of
they just had a thing on Edgar Allan Poe. I was listening to, and it was he because the cause of his death is still unknown.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. There's always going to be various forms of speculation and such. But
Because he was found wandering the streets in somebody else's clothes,
yeah, that'll do it.
and he didn't know where he didn't know where he was at. He didn't know, and then I guess he went into the I want to say what they were saying was, I think he went into the hospital or something after that, and he died like 3 or 4 days later.
Shame.
So they didn't know. They don't know what happened in the time that they found him in somebody else's clothes.
I mean, also there was a speculation that Lewis Carroll, writer of Alice in Wonderland, that
Yeah.
he was on LSD. Well, that's interesting because LSD had not actually been invented until decades and decades later. I mean, yes, they had opium back then, but no, acid was not a thing back in Victorian England. So that kind of debunks that. It's like, yes, he is popular within drug culture, but uh, that specifically was it's not a thing.
Yeah, I had heard that too, and I'm like, wait, that wasn't. They didn't come
No.
up with that until later.
Yeah, I mean that was to my knowledge, LSD was not a thing until uh, like the 40s or the 50s at the earliest. It was popularized in the 60s, but Lewis Carroll, he was from the 1880s, not the 1950s and 60s. So,
Well, they had
they had
what? They had what?
laudanum, opium.
Opioid,
Yeah.
heroin. They had all of that stuff. Some of that stuff they used to sell over the counter.
Well, yeah. I mean, but then I mean also, uh, the drink Coca-Cola. I mean, it has it in its name, what used to be in it, yes, oh, it was a stimulant, all right. And unfortunately, it worked very, very effectively. It's like that's why flappers, yeah, they could dance for 12 hours straight.
7-Up too.
Really?
Yeah.
I knew
There
about
was
Coca-Cola.
no 7-Up. There was some kind of like there was a stimulant in that also.
Weird.
I can't remember what it was, but it was a stimulant to like a mood stimulant.
The more you know. Da, 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 da.
Exactly.
PSA kids, just say no.
Exactly. Oh,
It had an energy stimulant like caffeine in 1929, lithium citrate.
yeah, lithium citrate. That's what it was.
Charming.
And 7-Up.
And
Well, I only drink coffee and water now. I really don't drink anything else. But yeah, I think we're good for today. What do you think?
Yes, indeedy.
Mhm.
All right. Flip it around, buddy. Flip it around.
Let's flip it around.
No, turn it. I want to see it right side up. Ah, that's so pretty. That is so pretty. Very, very nice. Love it. All right. Well, listen,
Hey,
everybody out there.
yours.
I'm sorry? Hello? I think we're having technical difficulties. That's okay. I'm really enjoying, the whole process. I don't know if the technical difficulty is on my end or on Matt's end, but yeah, it's okay.
Yours is just as good.
Thank you. Yeah, we're having technical weirdnesses going on, but that's okay.
Mhm.
That's okay. We roll with it.
There we go.
Alrighty.
Sorry about that, everybody. I don't know what it just went sideways.
That's all right. Yeah, we have our different styles. But yeah, I'll get there eventually. But I have kept true to my promise. I have not been working on it off camera, so you can see exactly what I'm doing.
Well, you saw the vampire one that I'm working on.
Did I?
Did you?
I don't know.
You didn't see it?
Refresh my noggin. Oh, ew, he's so, ooh. Would not want to run into him in a dark alley. That looks awesome, though. Very awesome.
Yeah, so I've been working, and then on the other side is the Wolfman.
Cool. You got Jacob and Edward going on there,
So I got
figuratively speaking.
the Wolfman and Dracula, or a
Very cool.
vampire.
Well, we'll continue to work on this, in our next collab video.
So
And
that's what I'm working on that one.
yeah,
But this one I've just worked on with just you.
well, thank you. But yeah, until next time, my dears, and you guys know what to do until next time, right? Want you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay creative, whether it is coloring or stitching or doing whatever it is that you want to do. You do you, boo. March to the beat of your own bongos. Take care of yourselves and each other. And yeah, we'll do this again real soon.
Yes, indeedy. And like one of our subscribers says, kindness matters.
Yes, it does.
So be kind to the people around you. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you guys all later. Take care
Bye,
of yourself.
everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.